What's up? I'm Justin and welcome to another video. So some time has passed. I did a horrible job once wedding season rolled around last year, getting into the YouTube grind and trying to keep the videos coming out. So I am so sorry for that, guys. Any of you who've been asking about new videos, I got a whole bunch planned for this year. I'm gonna try to do one each month. For this first video, I wanted to do a recap of my 10 favorite images I took last year. I wanna walk you guys through my vision for the image, how I lit the image, what I was thinking while shooting it, what I shot it with, and hopefully that'll help you guys when you're going out and creating in the new year. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the first image you're seeing right here is a picture that I took this past January. Excuse me, holding my phone. I'm gonna be like looking back at the photos so I can make sure I'm giving you guys accurate information about them. But this is a wedding photo I took at a stylized wedding shoot that I planned last January. I really wanted to connect with some other vendors in the area. So I teamed up with my girlfriend who's a hair and makeup artist, and she did the hair for the bride. We had a company who makes rings. We worked with a local florist and a local bridal shop. So it was actually a great collaboration. We all got together. We spent probably like 3 or 4 hours working on this shoot together. But in the image, these are my friends Evan and Bree. Bree is a model. Evan just kind of got roped into it because he was her boyfriend, and he did a killer job. Let me just say, he was fantastic for somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of modeling. But basically, I love this image for a few reasons. One, that depth of field is so good. This was shot with the Sigma Art 135mm f1.8 lens on my Sony a7 III, and the bokeh on that lens is killer. I absolutely love that lens. I don't have it in my arsenal. I'd actually rented it for this shoot specifically, but I'm hoping that later this year I can add either that one or the Sony GM lens to my kit. Next up, this image is a fun one. So you're probably like, what the heck is going on here? And I wouldn't blame you for it in the slightest, but basically I run an event company called Cleveland Creates, and we host small networking events up to large networking events for that matter. We haven't done a whole lot because of COVID and the restrictions placed, but this was just at the beginning before any of the COVID restrictions have been placed here in Ohio. I rented out an Airbnb in Cleveland, and it was amazing. This place was so cool. It had neon lights everywhere. Each room was a different themed. It was all themed kind of like animal style. And so we called it Find Your Animal at the Mammal, and we had a whole bunch of people come out. This is my friend Carrie Esser. She's a very talented makeup artist, and she came, hung out and did some modeling, and she kind of had body painted herself to look like a cheetah or a leopard or something. And there's this one room that had these great walls as the background that you see in this image. And in the other room, there are these 2 chairs that when you put them together made one cage. And I was like, oh, Carrie, can I get you inside of this cage? And you know, let's create something really cool. Like, you're this caged beast animal, and you know, it's gonna be a cool shoot. And so she didn't quite see it right off the bat, but as soon as I flipped the camera around and showed her what I was seeing, she was like, oh, this is awesome. Let's keep shooting this. So we shot that for a while. We did some close-up stuff and some full body stuff, but I just loved how this image came out. The colors are so great. It's such an interesting, cool concept, and it's just an all-around different image that I thought stood out. Next up, now some of you might have seen this video. This was, we actually made a YouTube video out of this whole day, but basically this is my friend Max. He was gonna be proposing to his then at the time girlfriend, now fiance, and he wanted to surprise her. And basically we came up with this concept, and I'll link the video below so you guys can watch the whole thing. But basically we came up with a concept where my second shooter for my weddings, Tyler, and I were going to want to work together and learn how to work off each other better. That way we can, you know, really dial in our weddings. And we told her that and asked if they would be down to model for a couples shoot. And so she wasn't expecting anything, but the whole time Max had planned out that when we got to the location where this waterfall was, he was gonna get down on a knee and propose. I also shot this image with 135mm f1.8. I rented it again for this because I just knew that the bokeh was gonna be killer on this shoot. So I really wanted to, you know, rent that lens again and just play with it. And again, it stunned me with the image it produced. So there was no external lighting used in this image. This was all just natural light. We got blessed with a beautiful day. Plus we were in the water and there was a ton of people there. So just having a strobe out for that wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. So this is just straight natural light, beautiful location, beautiful moment, super special. I highly recommend you go check out the video. It's linked below, so go check that out and let's check out the next photo. All right, next up we have this image. I took this image at a place I've always wanted to shoot at. I've known about it for a long time. It's a really cool plant store in Columbus. It's called Groovy Plants Ranch. And it's basically an outdoor greenhouse kind of shopping area. You can buy whatever kind of plants you want there, but it's all themed. It's got this cool kind of Western theme to it. And so I've always wanted to shoot there, and we took this image right after kind of the quarantine period let up. I think this was probably about June. So April and May were really tricky months to go out and shoot, but we did this in June. We were safe about it, wore our masks and everything. Cassandra is a fantastic model. I've worked with her a number of times and I knew she would kill this. It also worked out because she's local to Columbus. But I drove down there for the afternoon, and we spent a couple hours shooting around at this place, and I just loved this image. I mean, you would not have any idea that this was taken in Ohio if I didn't tell you it was taken in Ohio. I mean, that's the craziest thing about it. I love shot with a 35mm f1.8 at f1.8, and on my Sony a7 III. I mean, the depth of field is just incredible on this. She looks great. The setting was perfect. It just all came together really nicely. Next up, now I don't have a specific favorite from this shoot, but this was a shoot that I did with a friend of mine and a model. She's actually based in Arizona now, but she used to live in Ohio and we were good friends back then. Her name's Emma J. She's a killer model. She does a lot of fashion and boudoir stuff. She's also a photographer and shoots amazing music, portraits, and live photos. Totally killer. Definitely check her out. But she was in town and she was like, hey, you know what? This is the place, the Agora Theater is the place that I got started at when I started shooting. I would love to do a portrait session there. I've got to connect. He's going to let us in to shoot. Do you want to do this? And I said, of course. Anytime I can shoot in a location that I don't normally have access to, I can't turn that down. So we got there. He was super great. Shout out to Mike Tata at the Agora. He's awesome. He let us have full access to everything. So there's a couple of reasons why I just loved this shoot. I mean, the first reason was I got to shoot in a theater. I'd never tried to light a theater before, so it was gonna be a new experience. It was gonna be a challenge, and I was excited and also nervous about that. But Emma had already lined it up to get us published in Sour magazine. So we actually were published in this issue. We got our pages here. And so that was a highlight for me this past year, being able to say that I was published for something in an actual print magazine. All the other photographers in this magazine killed it too, but that was super special. And thank you to Emma for getting that lined up. But because this was such a challenge, I'm gonna explain to you guys how I went about lighting this shoot. So basically, this was a 3-light setup. I had two Godox 8200s and a Godox 8600 that I was working with, and I was stressed because I did not know if that was gonna be enough lighting to light up this theater. It's a huge theater, totally dark. So what I ended up doing is, for the images of her on the stage, I went ahead and put an 8200 on, well, there we go. Everything's backwards. Anyways, I went ahead and put 8200s up on opposite sides of the stage and then aimed them inwards towards her. And then I lit her with the 8600. Now, the 8200s weren't really made to light her. They gave her a little bit of a rim light, but mainly I was using those to light the background. I was trying to keep it as even as possible behind her so you could see the chairs, you could see the back end of the theater and see all the chairs in the balcony to really give depth to the image and not just have it fall off to be this blacked out background with her on a stage. It just was not gonna have the same effect. So we did that, and then actually we went up into the balconies. We shot some in there too, and same kind of deal. I used the 8200s to light the background, but I actually added a red gel to one of the 8200s to get some more concert feeling kind of lighting going on and make it feel less like it was all perfectly lit inside and more like you were at an event. Which little did we know we would not be going to any concerts for the rest of 2020. Next up, we have an image I took of my girlfriend. We're big Halloween fans. We love Halloween. Everything spooky season is totally right up our alley. So we really wanted to work together on a Halloween inspired kind of cosplay type shoot. And we bounced ideas around for a while. We weren't landing on anything that either of us loved. And then she came up with the idea for a steampunk shoot. And I was like, I love the idea of steampunk. I actually took a course in college that was about steampunk literature, and I enjoyed reading about it and everything. But I was like, steampunk is in these like crazy worlds where technology went a different way. Like, where are we gonna find a location that's gonna work for this? So I had to really do some digging to find a local location in Cleveland that I felt would do the shoot justice. And I came up with this one spot, and you see it here, but it was this bridge. It's called the Jackknife Bridge in Cleveland, and I'd seen it before but had no idea where it was. And it's actually right behind a venue I've shot a couple weddings at, and I was shocked that I'd never realized that this bridge was literally right behind where I was taking pictures. So we got there and we set everything up, and another photographer came and was shooting there. So we had to kind of wait a few minutes to shoot, but basically this was another 3-light setup that I worked out here, because I just wanted to make sure that we could still see what was behind her in this really crazy metal bridge. And so I lit it in this way. We put an 8600 on the camera left to light her as she's walking towards me. And I also had one way down towards the end of the bridge on a small light stand. It was 8200 aimed straight up. That was to light the background so it wouldn't fall off into shadow. Then I also mounted with a Manfrotto, I forget what they're called, but a clamp, a Manfrotto clamp, mounted it to the top part of the bridge behind Hannah as she walked through it. So that was aiming at her from behind to light her back. I had a light at the front to light her from the front, and then I had a background light to light everything in the background. And this is the result of it. I was so stoked about it. Next up, this was also back in October. This was another killer shoot that I was so stoked about. As soon as I saw the images on the back of my camera, I could not wait to edit these. I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton, so I've always wanted to do a Tim Burton inspired shoot. So we chose to do the Corpse Bride. Now Hannah did the makeup for this. The model is Rachel Gutierrez. She's amazing too. And honestly, I didn't even realize at the time, but she ended up looking just like the Corpse Bride. I mean, in the images, it is crazy, some of them, how much they look alike. But basically what happened, Rachel came over and Hannah did her hair and makeup at our place, and then we went on a trip to my hometown. There's a really cool park there that has a whole bunch of trees. They're all like these really tall pine trees that are just planted in rows, like perfect rows. So it's a really eerie, creepy place, especially when you add smoke grenades to it. So I had bought some Enola Gay smoke grenades from the Pixel Connection. Shout out to those guys because they hooked it up for this shoot. And little did I know, Enola Gay was doing a contest for the best Halloween image that you could create. So as soon as I saw that, I posted these and tagged them in it and ended up winning the contest. So I won, I mean, for me, easily a year's supply of smoke grenades from them. So thank you guys for that. The way I went about lighting these is actually, I use the same lights that I'm using here to light this video. I bought a couple of RGB LED panels and they're able to run off of a battery. So I just packed those up into my camera bag as we took this hike to get to the location. And then as we got there, I set up one behind Rachel and had Hannah run back and forth with the smoke bombs to kind of create more that ambient smoke behind her. And then lit that blue. So there was a big blue cloud of smoke behind Rachel. And then I used the other one as just a daylight balanced LED on her face so that we could get accurate colors and make sure you could see the makeup and all the costume work that we had to put together in order to make this shoot happen. Next up, this image I took this past August at one of my clients' weddings. I was nervous about this wedding. I really was, because the weather did not seem like it was going to be great. And anytime you have rain in Ohio, you never know what we're going to get. We could get snow, we could get rain constantly all day, we could have a heavy thunderstorm, and then we can't even go outside at all. There's no breaks in it. So it was really nervous about going into this, if we were going to be able to pop outside and get some outdoor photos, because they were at this really amazing location. We were right by the water and we could go out and do some photos with the boats at the docks, and it would have been great, but it pretty much rained all day. We got out for a couple minutes here and there, but the bride and groom, rightfully so, didn't want to get wet, of course, on their wedding day. So we had to be real quick about it. But as the day was starting to wrap up, I was still not happy, because I felt like, you know, I got great images, but I didn't get a killer one because we couldn't go to the locations that I had wanted to go to. We had to be stuck inside shooting most of the time. So I don't know by whatever grace of God this happened, but right as the reception is starting and the sun's setting, you know, we're running out of time because the sun's setting, the clouds just part and the sun's coming through beautifully through these clouds. And I grabbed the bride and groom. I said, hey, can we pop outside and get this one photo? I've been dying to get it. I know that we can go and get it really quick. It's gonna be cutting it close because maybe it might start raining again, but while we have some sun, I wanna use it. And they're like, yeah, let's go do it. You know, we're in the reception, so most of the day was already over with. They were cool with going outside and taking that risk. And I'm glad we did, because we ended up with an image like this. I backlit this image with the 8600 of them standing up on this platform that looked out over the water, and they just had this amazing skyline behind them. So I was so happy with how this photo came out. I had to make a huge print of this for the studio because I just think this is something that, you know, this is a movie image of a bride and groom, and that's how you really want to remember your wedding day. Next up, I have this image. Now, this image didn't do so great on my social media, but I just loved it. I got this location we had gone to for this engagement session. I'd never been there before, so I didn't really know what to expect while we shot there. And so they were kind of giving me ideas of places we could go. And they're like, well, there's this waterfall. We gotta go check it out. And we got over there, and it was not easy to get down to, that's for sure. We had to climb down this slippery, wet rock. It was very steep. I had my light with me. I had my A7 III with a 70 to 200 on it. I'm climbing down this rock, trying to not slip off of it. So we went down to the waterfall and we took some photos in front of the waterfall with them there, and it was really dark, it was really challenging. There wasn't even enough room for my 8600, so I didn't even need to bring it down with me. It was just extra luggage at that point. And so we got some photos there, and then as I'm climbing back up, they're ahead of me climbing out of this, the bottom of the waterfall, and as I'm climbing back up, I look, that's a shot right there. Like, I can see you guys standing right there. Can you guys run over there and you know, just stand there together and look at each other? I want to get a shot with the waterfall coming down in front. And so I'm leaning back on this rock, and I'm just trying to get this angle right as I'm sliding down this rock with my light still hanging out there, and people are looking at me weird because I'm doing something that looks extremely dangerous. Luckily, nobody got hurt. We were totally safe. I was able to keep my balance the whole time, get myself back out of there, but it was totally worth it to get this shot. All right, and last but not least, image number 10. This is taken of a dancer from Cleveland. Her name is Kayla. And she came to me to do a shoot. She was gonna be doing a class, a dance class that she wanted to start marketing. So she wanted to do a professional photo shoot with me. We did it in studio, and we did a whole bunch of stuff, but this one just turned out awesome. It was not something we had planned to do in the shoot when we kind of consulted about what we were gonna do. But in the moment, I was like, let's give this a shot, because she has this striking red hair. It's beautiful, and I was like, let's play with reds then, because we had done some shots on a red background. I'm like, let's get some gels in here. We're gonna shoot this on black, but I wanna pop in some red because I think it's really gonna make the image stand out. And honestly, it was a great idea. The images came out so crispy with the lighting I chose between the 8200 and the 8600. Shot it with the Sony A7 III and the 70 to 200, and it just is a very high-end commercial image. I was super happy with how it came out, and she was stoked on it. So thank you guys for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe. It helps out the channel, helps other people get to see this type of content. But I got a question for you guys. I wanna know what your favorite image was that you took in 2020, where it was taken, what you used to shoot it with, and any information you wanna tell me, please drop it below in the comments. I would love to see the image that you created, so feel free to tag your Instagram as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.